All right, let's take a look at the E3 variation. So the E3 variation, let's take a look. That is called the Spassky System, and played about 7% of the time against the Queen's Indian defense as white. Went through the G3 variations, A3 variations, Knight to C3 variations, which is called the Kasparov variation, and now the Spassky system with E3. This variation is quite different from everything we have seen earlier in this chapter. White is in no hurry to start a battle for control over E4 and D5. Instead, he calmly completes his kingside development. This somber attitude forces Black into a similar role. Such a treatment of the opening is of course a highly personal choice. White effectively postpones the start of the battle to the early middle game, when complicated problems are bound to arise. For behind the following seemingly commonplace moves, the tension is building. It should not come as a surprise that E3 has always been a relatively popular variation, even among top grandmasters, but that theories remain somewhat rudimentary. In a way, the opening is skipped and the players head straight for the middle game. Bishop b7, bishop d3. This is the starting point of the 4E3 variation. Anyone making a study of this line will soon discover for himself one of the reasons why there are few clearly defined variations here. The order of moves is extremely vague. Both sides have certain standard schemes of development, but within such a scheme, there's hardly ever one particular move order standing out as best. In the meantime, all these uncertain move orders do have their own particularities. Perhaps Black's most solid plan is to play bishop b7, castle, castle, knight c3, d5. Or d5, castle, bishop e7, knight c3, and castle. A plausible continuation is then b3, c5, bishop b2, knight c6. This symmetrical position is very demanding of both players because there are so many different pawn exchanges, all leading to complex pawn formations in the center, most of which are hard to judge. It is this type of situation which is the most characteristic aspect of the 4E3 line. Black may also decide to head for this line by playing c5 first, though in that case he must be prepared for castle, bishop e7, and then knight to c3. Now the simple castle, dubious, is met very forcefully by d5. When the exchange, e takes d5, c takes d5, knight takes d5, knight takes d5, bishop takes d5, bishop takes h7 check would be positionally favorable for white. C takes d5, e takes d5, and d5 is considered to be Black's best reply, but this too contains some problems. White can start an attack on the king side with c takes d5, knight takes d5, knight to e5, castle, queen to h5. And although Black should be able to, with accurate play, maintain the balance, the mere fact that such accuracy is required is a factor which needs to be taken into account. A well-known trap illustrating the danger lies hidden in the position after knight f6, queen h4, when the seemingly natural knight to c6 ? Bishop g5, g6 loses on the spot to bishop a6. A better way to develop his knight is actually bishop to d7. The better way to develop his knight is knight on b to d7, while knight to e4, interesting, is possible too.